And I'm going to use the sort of the attachment point of the antler to make this knife. I'm going to use this section here as the knife handle for my new utility knife here. Hey guys, so last year a friend of mine gave me these antlers, and he didn't want to print them, but I'm not really comfortable with that. So I told him I would give him a knife that I would make from the antlers. So I made him this one, and I actually made two in the process. And both of these were made basically from scratch, and it's my first time making a knife from scratch, from basically a piece of steel, and first time using antler as a handle material as well. I'm going to show you how I made these, and in the end I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts. And I think there is only one thing I would change by the way I made these guys. So what I'm going to do is use a grinder to cut off what I don't need and cut just the section that I'm going to turn into the knife handle. So now I'm going to use the cutoff wheel to cut a slot that's approximately bisects this at this angle here. Now one of the problems is that when I'm using the grinder, I may not see the opposite side of, so I know where to stop. I'll put a rubber band there. As soon as this rubber band breaks, I'll know that I've hit the bottom edge of where I want it to be. So the cut here on the top looks pretty good. It's about a 1/16. But on the back here, as you can see, I wobble a little bit as I was holding this, but I think this will be okay. So all I need to do is fit this blade into here. I actually only want a blade that's about 2.5 inches here, so most of this part of the tan will be cut off. Alright, so I pretty much have this blade fitted in there. What I'm going to do is actually drill probably a hole here, maybe here, maybe down here, where I'm going to place the brass pins. And what I'm going to do is just drill through here until I get a little mark onto the blade. And I'm going to take the blade out and drill through the blade, and then put the blade back in, align these marks with the blade, and then drill it all the way through. You can notice that once the blade is fitted, that there is I don't know, you can see that. Okay, there's a small gap here. So that's about 2 millimeters, and the total length of this is probably about 12 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fit a piece of ebony wedge into here, so that the blade, the ebony, and the bone will form a tight contact. So now that I have everything fitted together, I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and heat treat the blade. I decided to try and install a brass nut cap as the base of one of the knives, and that involved making a small tenon and gradually fitting it down and then tightening the nut onto it, and it actually worked out pretty well for this knife. I sharpened up the gut hook and tested its utility, and I found that it's not very useful, so I decided to get rid of it on the gift knife. At this point, the knives were roughly finished, so I decided to put on a rough edge. There was a lot of sanding to get this one smooth, but I left a lot of sort of the rough texture from the knife with the antler base. But I decided that the base had some flesh stuck on it, and decided to get rid of it and just smooth it out, but not lose the shape of the antler. And once that was done, I added 2 coats of shellac and finished that off by polishing it with some steel wool, and now the knife is ready for its final edge. The bad news is that this blade, only the first inch is well hardened. The second inch of this blade is not well hardened at all. Basically, as I'm trying to put an edge on it, the edge just pulls from one side to the other. And I think that has to do with the way I hardened it. I had these two little propane tanks, basically open air hardening, heating, and I don't think I got it hot enough, at least not that part. Lesson learned. But the good news is, this knife turned out pretty good. So the entire edge holds an edge, and it cuts well. And that's important because this one's going to be the gift. Next time, I think if I ever do this again, I should build a proper heat treating forge instead of using these things where it's kind of spotty. I hope you enjoy this project. Next week, I'm going to show you how to make these custom shaped leather sheath. So hope to see you then.